TIFU when I opened my mouth during an intervention for my girlfriend's brother. Last night was awkward. I was part of an intervention for my girlfriend's brother. I'm gonna call him Joe, because his shirt said, I am bad, I am evil. I am MOJOJOJO. I had no business being at the intervention, but my girlfriend said my presence would provide emotional support. So, there I was, the fly on the wall, the random dude in the background, watching family and friends explain to Joe that his dinner invitation was nothing more than a lie to lure him into an ambush that might save his life. Joe said he was willing to listen to the rehab pitch, as long as there was food because he didn't show up hungry to have fake dinner. Joe was eating while everyone was telling him how much they missed the person he used to be and how all of them wanted to fix the broken person he's become. Not gonna lie, my attention drifted after an hour of hearing different people saying the same things. I was staring at the fish tank behind me when my girlfriend tapped me on the shoulder and indicated that her brother was trying to talk tone. I was as confused as everyone else when I realized Joe was asking me if I had anything to add. I opened my mouth without thinking and said I was just there for the fake dinner. Joe informed all the family and friends that he had no clue who I was, but he liked me. I said my name and explained that I was his sister's boyfriend. Joe decided to approach me and shake my hand. Without letting go, he asked if I was sleeping with his sister. At that moment, my girlfriend interjected and attempted to dismiss the question, but Joe managed to speak over her and said it was someone else's turn to talk. Still squeezing my hand, Joe hugged me unexpectedly and promised to go to rehab as soon as possible if I agreed to share the most rated thing I've done with his sister. My girlfriend called her brother a bully and literally pulled me away from him. Joe tapped his watch and said I had less than 60 seconds to tell him something dirty because nothing else was going to convince him to get clean. The family and friends continued with the intervention as if I never got involved and Joe never interacted with me. Joe grabbed his hoodie and made it clear to everyone he was leaving. Joe's parents begged him not to go. It was an emotional plea, difficult to watch. I looked at my girlfriend, who was crying in my arms at that point, and asked, should I? My girlfriend and I locked eyes. She understood the question and said no. I said we could tell him about the thing we did on my birthday. My girlfriend asked if I was talking about the messy thing. I said yes. My girlfriend covered her ears and said it was my call. I took a deep breath and yelled, I peed on her. Everyone froze. My girlfriend got upset and said she thought I was gonna tell her brother about the other messy thing. I asked what other messy thing. My girlfriend became even more upset and asked if I forgot about the night she pegged me. I lowered my voice and said everyone was staring at us. Without making eye contact with anyone, my girlfriend practically ran to the bathroom and basically isolated herself for the rest of the evening. Joe said no pun intended, but if I wanted to escape too, the back door was open. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life so far, but something good did happen. Joe gave his phone Andy's car keys to his parents and agreed to let them drive him to rehab the following day, which is today. My girlfriend is no longer completely mad at me. She said her mom and dad might never look at USTHE same way again, but for now, they're too busy helping her brother to think about how their daughter and her new boyfriend behave in the bedroom. The end. TLDR became part of an intervention for my girlfriend's brother, who put me on the spot in front of his family and friends and said he would agree to go to rehab if I shared the most kinky thing I've done with his sister. I panicked under pressure and said I peed on her, which made my girlfriend upset and made me die of embarrassment. TIFU by making a way too delicious beef stew in humid weather. I regret living. I bought a crock pot for the first time the other day and I'm kicking myself for not doing it sooner. I've been making pulled pork, chicken to keto filling, all sorts of tasty stuff. I'm obsessed. My wife told me last night that we haven't had beef stew in a while, and now that we had a crock pot, there was absolutely no excuse not to make it. I went all out, even buying some fancy red wine to make it with. Hell, I even made a whole SS loaf of French bread with our bread maker to accompany it. 8 hours later, it's ready. My god, that stew was orgasmic coming from a slow cooker. That beef just fell apart. Absurdly good. I normally watch my portion sizes since I'm trying to lose some weight, but not tonight. I ate 2.5 bowls of this stuff. Fast forward about 3 hours later. For whatever reason, while it was only about 62 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 degrees Celsius, outside, it is disgustingly humid. I don't do well at all in humidity, or in hot weather, especially when I'm trying to sleep. so I use a machine that has a hose attachment that goes on the foot of your bed, and blows hot or cool air under the covers and over your body. I haven't used it in a while, but I turned it on and the cool air felt so much better against my body. I started to get cozy, and then my stomach started gurgling. Not really thinking about it, I lifted my leg and what can only be described as a silent, fiery hot stream of air escaped my SS hole, continuing for nearly 10 seconds uninterrupted. What could possibly be worse than beef stew farts? Answer: having them blown back right in your face from under the covers. I can't even begin to describe the smell. It was like something literally crawled up my SS hole and 3 years ago. And my ucking machine was blowing what might as well be mustard gas right back at me. It smelled so bad that I threw up. My wife heard me and ran into the room, but the humidity of the room in combination with a now putrid mixture of beef stew, hell farts and vomit created something that could bring about the end times. She helped me clean myself up, bless her soul, but my God, that was awful. TLDR. Ate too much beef stew, body protested. Humid weather made me use a fan under my covers and accidentally gassed myself with beef stew farts and threw up from the smell. Edit. I've seen a lot of comments doubting the fact that I threw up because of the smell. Unfortunately, I'm very sensitive to smells and I have a not-so-great GI system. I've thrown up smelling putrid garbage, dumpsters, and other rancid smells. For the beef stew recipe, I used this one. TIFU by accidentally revealing my secret identity to my entire office. So, this actually happened earlier today, and I'm still reeling from the sheer embarrassment of it all. For context, I work in a pretty average office setting, but my colleagues and I like to spice things up with themed dress-up days every now and then. This week, we all agreed to come and dress as our favorite superheroes. Naturally, I was super excited to participate. I've always been a huge fan of superheroes, and I have this awesome Batman costume I've been itching to wear ever since I got it for Halloween last year. So, I woke up early, got dressed in my full bat regalia, and even went as far as doing the full Batman voice to complete the persona. I was ready to show up to work and save the day. As soon as I walked into the office, I could tell that something was off. People were staring at me with a mixture of confusion, amusement, and just a hint of terror. I figured they were just in awe of my Batman transformation and didn't think much of it. My manager approached me with a stifled laugh and asked, "Hey, Batman, did you happen to check your email this morning?" I replied, "Still in character, email? Batman has no need for such trivial matters." My manager then explained that there had been a last-minute email sent out last night, postponing the dress-up day to next week due to an important client meeting scheduled for today. My face went beet red as I realized I was standing in the middle of the office, dressed as Batman, with zero context to justify it. To make matters worse, the important client arrived just in time to witness my embarrassment. They were surprisingly cool about it, even joking that they felt safer with Batman around. Still, I spent the rest of the day hiding in my cubicle, answering calls in my best Bruce Wayne voice, and praying for the sweet release of the end of the workday. Now I'm sitting at home, in full Batman attire, contemplating how I'm going to show my face at the office on Monday. Doctor. I dressed up as Batman for a themed dress-up day at work, not realizing it had been postponed, and ended up revealing my secret identity to my entire office and an important client. TIFU by buying a bong and giving myself salmonella. I, 19F, started smoking a few months ago. While I love being high, I hate smoking a joint because of how hot it is and burns the back of my throat and leaves an awful taste. I tried edible, but I slept for 20 hours straight after only 2 of my 16 brownies I made, so I didn't really want that. Therefore I thought it would be a great idea to buy a bong after talking to a stoner friend. I went out the next day and bought an acrylic bong and decided to use it. It blew my mind as the vapor was basically cold and I could really feel the weed working instantly. I ended up getting much higher than I had ever been before. So I'm watching Hell's Kitchen and Gordon Ramsay is yelling at some guy for overcooking his steak and I'm really getting the munchies. I go to the fridge to look for a protein, but all I have is chicken, so I decided to cook that. When I took out the chicken, it wasn't the shape of a steak, so I battered it with a pan to flatten it. You see, I like my steak medium rare, so when cooking my flattened chicken I only cooked it for 1 minute 30 each side with salt and pepper. Thinking I had made a masterpiece, I cut it into thickish slices and served it with fries. I don't know if it was just the weed, but this unknowingly raw chicken was the best chicken I've ever had in my life. It was perfectly warm but so juicy. The next day I'm feeling a bit high and can't remember much of what happened last night, but otherwise fine. Then all of a sudden, as I'm watching TV, I get mild stomach cramps, so I wonder what I ate last night, and it all comes back to me. I can't believe I tried to cook a chicken like a steak even if it was delicious. I didn't have any more symptoms for the rest of the day, however. In the middle of the night I woke up and realized I had shat the bed. I had changed the bed sheets a few nights earlier, so this was particularly disappointing. I had to replace my Egyptian cotton sheets as they were stained. This was hard to do. Aussie was solidly throwing up for the next 2 days. So I guess the moral of the story is cook your chicken properly. TLDR, bada bong, got really high cooked chicken like it was a steak, shat the bed.